Hi, everybody. It's Mimi from Be Heard, Empower Your Life. And today we have an author who wrote a book called Live Your Empowered Life. So that is very apropos. Susan Burrell. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Mimi.
And it's a 30-day journey book. And that means, is it like a workbook also?
It is. It is. I'll just tell you briefly what the book is. When I wrote it, I put everything, all these tools and skill sets I've developed over the years into it and decided that I'm all about, we're all taking a journey in life. So how can we live an empowered life? And so everything that's in the book, there's experientials, there's guided meditations, there's eventually you do a mind map in order to also focus on your life purpose. There's walking a labyrinth. There's all that kind of stuff in there. But my intention was that people would uh, do a deep dive within themselves, clearing out the garbage at the beginning. There's lots of journaling stuff. It's interactive with my website. Because when I do my work, my inner work, I really don't want to do it by myself. I always need to at least have a partner.
Mhm.
So I felt like having individuals when they're working the book, going to my website would make them feel like I'm there with them,
Oh,
because I
yeah.
am energetically,
Yeah.
but to have them have that as their cornerstone as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, when it came out, I gave it to some college friends, and this one woman opened it up and said, "Oh, it's a workbook. I thought I was going to just read it." And here's my thing, Mimi. People that take class with me know I'm a get it done person
Mhm.
in terms of spiritual development and enlightenment and growth.
Yeah.
And so I did create that book so it would kick people in the butt and get them going. And there are people that just don't want to do that. And we've been witnessing that over the last few years, I believe, just not wanting to know the truth of who they are. But this book will assist you in doing that. And it actually, it's kind of good that we're talking about it now because it's a great way to start 2026, a new year, but also a new 9 year cycle. We're moving into a 1 year after this year, 2025, closing stuff down, letting it go. Thank goodness, letting it go.
And you were saying you were a get it done person. Continue with that.
Well, what I mean by that is, first of all, I have been teaching spiritual principle and universal laws for maybe 25 years now.
That's a long time.
So I've been teaching a lot of students, and I find that there are people that want the person teaching to do it for them. Give me the magic pill, show me the magic number, whatever it is, right?
So,
And in in my own personal inner growth and transformation, I know that you have to do it yourself. You have to take self-responsibility and go within yourself. I can't tell you
no,
what your intuition is telling you. Only you can tell you. And so that the people that are not interested in taking self-responsibility are most likely the people that I don't work with,
exactly
because I really want to up level
where
consciousness
they're at.
and
Right.
assist with up leveling humanity, because we so need it right now.
I have to
So
interject because um, I've been sober for, oh God, I always forget, 34 years. Yeah, 30, yes, somewhere, 34 years. I'm right. And my journey started with rehab, and there was no intervention. I know now, after I got sober, that I have chronic depression and anxiety, which I got from my father. He tried to kill himself twice, and he drank and he was depressed. And long story short is I got sober. But I didn't just go to meetings. I went to a psychologist. I went to group therapy. I did everything I could. And when I was 9 months sober, I had gained 50 pounds, which happens to
Yeah.
many, many people because they turn to sugar because alcohol is really sugar. And I went away again. I went to California it had to do with food addiction, and they had anorexics there and everything. And I went there for 3 weeks. So sobriety was a 4 week rehab. Then I went to a 3 week and five, and I still continued counseling, meetings. 5 years sober. I went into a deep depression, and I told my husband, I have to go to Karen Foundation. They have a 5-day program, and it's about family of origin.
Yep.
Yeah, and he said to me, "Are you going to go away like every couple of years?" And I said, "If I have to."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when you're in.
And that's taking self-responsibility. You
That's
just
commitment.
modeled that where, he didn't tell you to go do it. You
No,
recognize, okay, I need to take another step
absolutely.
towards who I am and not covering it up.
And that's how then I got into spirituality, which I couldn't get into if I wasn't into sobriety and
Right.
looking at myself and doing all that inner work, which I got a lot of rage and pain and denial and all that stuff out. And the spirituality then came in steps also. But just to refer back to something you said earlier, I had a woman ask me to be her sponsor, and she has like 30 years. She's no spring chicken. And I noticed a certain thing about her after a few weeks. And I said, you know what? I think you need to do a 10th step again. And she said, I don't have to do a 10 step. Why? I did a 10 step. I said, that doesn't mean you can't do another one. And after all these years, maybe you should, because she did not have any self awareness.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
Mom, I'm not doing a 10 step. I said, okay, so here's what you're telling me. And I said it very calmly. I said, you asked me to be your sponsor, but you're not going to take my direction. So that means, honey, we can be friends, but I am not your sponsor.
Yep.
And she
Again,
was taken aback by that. And I was like, again,
yep.
what you
Again,
said.
I've had clients that I've had to um, fire because they weren't willing to, after a couple of sessions, they still weren't willing to move forward. They didn't, they just wanted to they wanted to have me be their dumping ground, and I don't do that.
That's
When I first started teaching, I did because I thought it was helpful. Now I just don't do that. Either you commit to doing your own inner work, or then I'm not the one for you. And that's okay. There is multiple times, Mimi, going back to this, what you just shared, where, okay, I know what I'm supposed to say.
that's
There are
okay.
multiple times when I'm going through something and I find I have to go back to a previous exploration because there's something else coming up. There is something else that wants to be revealed from within me. And often it's family of origin, yucky doodah.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's past life experiences that are popping up saying, you know what? This is why you feel so blah. And
I have to
so
because I'm looking at my Akashic records.
yeah,
The Akashic records I had never heard of, but my spiritual community, we don't call ourselves a church. It's a spiritual community because it's like that's what we are. And I got introduced to Akashic records, didn't know what they were, and I have a guide that's taking me through it, and it's awesome. It's amazing. And talk about prior lives. And the first thing she said to me was, you're on your sixth life, and your first life was in Rome in 200 AD. You were a female gladiator. She had me a female gladiator. That sounds like me.
well, it's interesting because we do carry uh components or pieces of our past life into the
Awesome.
life. Sometimes that's awesome because it helps give us more of a backbone, if you will, or, keep you focused on what your soul's growth is supposed to be.
Yes.
But sometimes we carry forward karmic issues
Mm,
that were maybe already resolved, but there's a part of us that keeps thinking we're supposed to go back over that again. And
yes.
so I think that is contributive to many things, such as depression, because we think we're still supposed to do the thing or complete the project, if you will, from a past
Yes.
life,
Hmm.
the growth, and yet we already have. So this year, 2025, man, I don't know about you, but or anybody listening, but this on my show, Empowering Chats, I always do an annual theme. And coming out of 24 into 25, I just felt this was going to be raucous.
Hmm.
I'm being very kind and I'm not using any foul language, Mimi. Believe me. So I decided that this was an opportunity for soul growth, more growing our soul, not necessarily ourselves, right? Because we all come in with a piece of our soul, right?
Yes.
Our entire soul doesn't incarnate when we incarnate. There is a part of our soul, which is why often people say my higher self, thinking that that's God, spirit, source energy, whatever you want to put that name on. But really, your higher self is the rest of your soul that is still on the unseen side, assisting you, assisting you. So that's why it's important to learn how to go within and listen to your inner authority, your
Exactly.
divine wisdom, that higher self,
Right.
because that whole soul component is guiding you through what it is you came here to learn or how you came to evolve more, um, because that's soul growth. And every single human being, nobody gets off free, every single human being on the planet is growing their soul, whether they choose to be consciously aware of it or not. There's a
Mhm.
lot of people that are choosing not to be,
Yep.
and that's part of why we're in the mishigosh we're in.
Yes.
But
And
there's a lot of us that have said, I am here. I
mhm.
chose to be here now on planet Earth during this entire transformation, up leveling, so
Yes.
that humanity can grow, evolve into its best experience, into its best self, if you will.
Yeah. And my well, she's now a co-host on some of my episodes because we got in so deep. And I grew up Catholic, and they used to say you have a guardian angel. Well, she talks about my spirit guides, and it's not much of a leap. Guardian angel, spirit guide, how different is that? So she said to me, "You have six spirit guides." I said, "I believe it." And she said, "You know what's really strange? They never tell me their names, and the one told me her name." And she thought that was very unusual. So things happen during our broadcasts that are amazing, that if you could be a total cynic and watch one of them and say, huh, that's weird. But the one day she said, did you break something this week? Now, she doesn't even live in the same state. I never knew her before the podcast. I said, I did break something. She said, was it a glass? I said, yes, it was a glass. Did it have yellow flowers on it? I went, yes. Now we're really getting specific. I broke a glass with yellow flowers. And so the spirit guide that told me her name, Janira, she said, well, Janira said, that's okay. Go buy something yellow for yourself. I mean, you can't make it up, you
No,
know?
you can't.
And then I find out about star seeds. And you were just talking about something that connects with that. And I'm trying to explain to people about star seeds from another planet. But you know what? That's really big now. Paranormal stuff is bigger than ever. Did you notice?
Absolutely.
And we know why, don't we? Yeah.
Absolutely.
'Cause people are just like feeling it and open to finding something else, I think. And
So
yeah.
So here's what's happening. I'll be very specific.
Be specific.
Over
Let's.
the last few years,
Mm-hmm.
several years, the divine feminine has come back online. Now, the divine feminine was online during the ancient time of Isis. Okay. Before the divine masculine, before the divine masculine and divine feminine worked together.
Yeah.
But as we move forward, the divine feminine got usurped.
Yes.
Okay. This is why women have been for centuries, at least 3, 4 centuries, um,
Yeah.
chattel,
Yes. Yes.
subordinate,
Mm-hmm.
unworthy, not in charge. And this is what we're seeing toppling now because the divine feminine came back online because the divine masculine at some point became very hardened, is my choice of words, and became the masters, right?
Yeah.
And that's when the whole top down pyramid idea started. There's a head guy, and everybody at the bottom has to do what the head guy says. Now, this has been for centuries,
Yeah. Yeah.
centuries.
Sure.
There have been spiritual teachers that have come on planet Earth to say, hey, everybody, that's not the way it is. And most of those spiritual teachers have been assassinated.
Absolutely. And
So, except for Buddha, who just sat, but there's others that, and so what happens is with those spiritual teachers, they have become ascended masters and they're still hanging out like Jesus and Kuan Yin and Gandhi and
Mhm.
a bunch of other people that you can't name,
Yes.
Saint Germain.
Oh,
So
I say
they
Jim.
are helping assist humanity right now in up leveling because what they've seen as the divine feminine has come online, the divine feminine doesn't take any,
Shit, you could say it.
okay, that doesn't take any shit.
No.
Which is why we've been smacked around. It
Right.
could also be what the COVID idea was all about, so we could get quiet in our homes and go, "Hello, who am I?" Well, a
It's
lot of
the
people didn't do
opposite
that.
with me. I wrote 4 books, started a podcast and a YouTube channel, not a show, a
Yes,
channel. That's what I did. So
while you were in COVID, in the lockdown.
I was in the
Yeah,
lockdown. I couldn't leave the house. And yeah,
right. So lots of people become productive during that kind of a time, which sounds like you did listen to your inner guidance.
thank you. I
So
did.
what's occurring now is such an up leveling, and like I mentioned before, we have more people on the planet, more souls on the planet to help guide us than ever before, or at least until since the time of Atlantis,
And this is
but
when the star
or
seed,
prior to that.
the star
And
seed started to make sense
so
too,
what
because
occurs,
yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
what's occurring is that we have all been receiving downloads, energy downloads.
Yes.
And that is, if you are aware and conscious, you'll begin to feel that energy. You do
Yes.
feel that energy flowing through your body because our body has meridians
Mm-hmm.
that channel the energy. And
Yep.
this has been happening for several years. And those of us that pay attention, we have developed our antenna more, if you will. And so
Yes.
the star seeds,
Mm-hmm.
many of us came down early, and I'm saying us
Yes, I get you.
because I am one. When you turn on and tune up,
Yes.
you understand what your purpose is and why you're here.
This is phenomenal to me because when I found out about star seeds and I start going into listening to spiritual guides, Akashic records, blah blah blah. My mother tried to abort me, and I know that because she wrote it in a journal that she knew I would read. That's my narcissistic mother. And
Yes, I had one too.
oh, we're so alike. And I believe my star seed entered the womb. That's where I think it
Well,
went.
yes, and it's not, but here's the thing, it's not just one lifetime.
No, it might
Those
not.
of us that are star seeds have been serving the highest good, for lack of a better phrase,
Mhm.
for centuries. It's
Oh,
part of what our soul mission is.
I only know about this lifetime that I can speak of, but I know for me, my journey, I always was a good person, but I got beat down by men, literally. And, got to the point where I didn't give up. I kept fighting. I kept fighting. But then once I got sober, like I told you, and I dug deeper and deeper, I wanted to be the best person I could be. And then 2020, I wanted to impart my knowledge of what I learned about being a woman and toxic men and how to fight back as my legacy.
Nice. That's
So
beautiful, Mimi.
everything you're saying is like exactly what I'm going through. A late in life career, 72 years old. That was 5 years ago. I was 77 this month. And
Congratulations. When's your birthday?
it was the 16th. Yeah.
Mine is the third.
There you go. For kindred souls.
Yep. We're Scorpios.
Well, no, we missed that. I'm a Libra. There's that cusp thing, I guess.
Oh, okay.
October 16th is a Libra. And
Okay. I'm November 3rd.
oh, that's why. Yeah, you just missed it. Anyway, I just think it's amazing. We're right on the same page. But
Yep.
you're farther along in the education of all this stuff in this life. Because I don't know what I knew in the other lives, but I am getting so much joy and satisfaction out of these podcasts that I'm doing and bringing to other people. And now that I have 145 episodes.
Lovely.
People are noticing me, and that's why I'm getting PR people, and that's good. And I'm being asked to be on other people's shows, which is really good.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's something that, and again, my husband, when he comes home, he's at the day center right now. When he comes home for the night, I will have had conversations with other people from all over the world, and then I can handle his nonverbal loving presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. I have been podcasting. It started in radio
Oh,
and teaching spiritual principle, kind of under the radar. And then I moved into podcasting a few years before lockdown happened. And the last couple of years, I come to like August, September, and I'm like, maybe I'm done. Maybe I'm complete. And every year then I reassess and I keep going because I learned so much from all the people I get to talk to. And
exactly.
it's such a gift I give myself
Exactly. Yeah.
by continuing my spiritual education, my intellectual education by having these conversations with people. It's fabulous, and I wouldn't be able to do it any other way.
No. And you have guided meditations on Insight Timer, which happens to be the app that I use.
Oh, well, then you got to go. The
To
best way to get to my
go,
meditations, because I have a whole stash of them there, probably over 100.
mhm.
Um,
Just type in your name, no?
No, well, you can, but you can go to the website, my website, susanburrell.com. At the bottom, there's the Insight Timer
Good.
icon.
Mhm.
Click on that. It takes you directly to all my guided meditations. And you got to scroll down to
Yeah.
find one that's right for you because
Yeah.
there's older ones at the top and newer ones at the bottom. And as
Yeah.
I've evolved, I started doing guided meditations online during lockdown. When lockdown first happened, I started recording meditations or doing them live on Facebook, which
Mhm. Mhm.
knew how to do that. I guess I figured it out. Anyway, um, so then we would put them on, submit them to Insight Timer. So there's tons of them there.
Yeah, that's so cool. I just looked at my notes and saw that. You know, the thing is, I am a happy person. I want to be a happy person, and I usually am a happy person. And my one defect that seems to stick with me is I think everybody's like me. So I think everybody is happy, joyous, and free and honest and looking for their meaning. And it ain't so. And, you know, then I get burnt. And I don't know. It's tough. And like I said, it doesn't
Well,
matter how old you are.
no, it doesn't matter. And that is, I can relate to that,
Mm,
Mimi, because I was very naive and gullible. I still am naive and gullible. I think that that's just kind of part of my makeup.
yeah.
But years ago, eons ago, I was an actress in LA, and I would get on the big busy freeways, drive into an interview, and look around and think that everybody else were actors and they're driving to their interview. You know, I just thought everybody was like me. I get it.
Yeah.
And that's we so okay, so here's what needs to be said.
Okay.
Um, while we all may be similar,
Mhm.
we are all uniquely different because we're all divine sparks. We are all part of this larger um, energy system, for a lack of a better word. You
Yeah.
can put a label on it, but it makes it smaller, but it's so vast. And
Mhm.
when we come in, when we choose to reincarnate,
Mhm.
our that spark of who we are, that divine light comes with us.
Yes.
And yet we are just 1 degree different from everyone else. And to then think that we're all the same is probably is what has caused this schism, this division. Well,
Mhm.
we should all be the same. No, we are
We're not
all,
all good. We
every
want,
single
want to
human
think
being.
that. We want to
We
think
are all
everybody's good.
unique.
Yeah, we're unique. Some people are evil. I have to say it. Um, or very flawed, if you want to go that way. But I talk to almost everybody, and my daughter's like chagrined, and we just went on a cruise, and she's like, "Mommy, do you have to talk to everybody?" I says, "You know what? I really don't talk to everybody. I only talk to people where I feel that spark, where I feel that light, where I feel it."
Yeah.
And immediately when I talk to them, I get it right back. They want to
Yeah.
talk to me, and it's wonderful.
Isn't that fun?
It is. I love it. And the cruise we went on, I go on a couple times a year, and she had never gone on it with me. And from the minute we walked on to the ship, it was Miss Mimi's here. Like everybody knew me. It's like we got the entertainment directors, like give them the best seats right up front for all the shows. It was like amazing. Like everybody remembered me. Now they wouldn't have remembered me if I didn't talk to them on the last two
Sure.
trips.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I love that. I think I remember them, and of course, I'm getting older. I might have to look at the name tag now. I make a joke of it. I go, "Oh, your name tag's turned around. Now what are you doing? Turn that around."
I have always had to look at people's names tags. It's
So
something
there
I
you go.
have a hard time remembering names. I can remember faces, but not
Me
necessarily
too.
names.
Me too. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a path. Now, this last book, I have had every illness and cancer and disease that you could ever think of. And everybody said, "But you look so good." I say, "Yeah, you want to see my medical records?" I mean, seriously. And everything is always just a little bit different. Like the doctor will say, "Oh, I never saw that kind before." Or, "You have a hernia, but it's a spigenial. It's very rare." So every time we left the doctor's office, I'd say to my husband, "I'm an alien. I must be an alien." And that went for my breast cancer. It went for every single thing that has been found. I have no original parts. They're all either gone or replaced. Okay. But this last book I wrote is called Anatomy of an Alien. And I worked starseeds in there. So the book, I call it a paranormal medical mystery.
Oh, how fun.
I loved writing it. So the paranormal, of course, is the starseed part. And the medical is all I have pictures galore. I have the name of every doctor that's ever seen me in the last 20 years, good and bad. Because if they're bad, their name should be in there. And if they're good, their name should be in there. Right.
Yeah, yep.
And then you have to wait to the very last chapter to find out if I'm a starseed. That's the mystery. I love this, and people are drawn to this book. They seem to love it. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Good
So
for you.
yeah, yeah. So I'm not stopping anytime soon.
Good.
Yeah,
You shouldn't.
no, not gonna. Well, this has been lovely. We have a lot. We have to do another one. You'll have to have me on your podcast. What's your podcast covers many things, right?
Yes, it just depends on where I'm led. You know, I everything I do is now intuitively guided. I really have tried to turn off that part of my brain that makes plans and outlines and stuff like that. That always gets me in trouble now.
Yeah,
So everything's intuitively led. This last year, because of everything happening in our country, I had conversations with three different sacred astrology people. A couple of them I had back on the show because I felt like their ideas and what they saw was honest and true, and I personally needed some guidance. But I also have I talked to many authors who are writing books about hope, freedom, um, peace.
right.
Those are the things that resonate with me.
Well,
And those are the people I want there. I want
yeah.
to listen to myself. So,
Exactly.
um,
Well, the first book I wrote was my counselor told me to do it, because I was getting depressed and my husband's Parkinson's was progressing and he wasn't very verbal after 4 o'clock. And she said, go in your room at 4 o'clock, shut the door and write. And I said, well, I'm not a writer. She said, you told me you wanted to be an English teacher, so I'm sure you can write. So I did what she said. And out of it came out a 456-page book, Raised by Wolves, Trapped by Demons. And the wolves were my parents because they were not very good parents. I told you about the narcissistic mother and the alcoholic father. What else do you need to know? And then the demons at first were the men because
mhm.
in the 1960s, if you didn't go to college, the only other way to get out of the house is to get married. And my parents wouldn't let me go to college. And then the demons became alcohol, So, and then
Hmm.
I get into the whole thing we talked about and finding a spiritual path, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, that's what that was when the door first opened for me creatively. That's,
Awesome. That's awesome.
so
And
we have,
you've been following it ever since.
oh, yes. And I'm noticing the progression in me. And I'm noticing the effect I'm having on other people because that's my mission.
Yep.
That's my mission. I sponsored, oh God, hundreds of women, and we'll end with this. This is great. We could talk for 2 hours. And when I was in AA, everybody was about the big book, the big book, the big book, the big book. You get a sponsor, you go through the big book. And there's a book called The 12 and 12. And Bill W. wrote the 12 and 12. It's like poetry. It's beautiful. And I said, you know what? I'm going to sponsor using the 12 and 12. And I made up homework for each chapter. And
Hmm.
and I would have like 6 people I was sponsoring, which, some people in AA would go, how egotistical. I said, no, they all have to come to my house the same night and we go around the room like a meeting. But anyway, they'd all have their homework. Well, here's the end of the story. It's 30 years later, and I still have people that were in that group that are not only sober, but they are using my homework as sponsors. Ah,
That's a legacy right
that's a
there.
legacy. And they tell me we still use your homework.
That's
And we
great.
have a lot of people. Oh, I get the chills. I'm so happy about that.
That's great. Congratulations.
So we're going to talk again. We had a bumpy start because of my little things going on in my life, but we still had a great talk, great conversation. And I hope
Thank
you'll come
you.
back. I hope you'll come back and we shall talk again. And
Lovely.
get some more juicy stuff out there into the universe and piss those men off. How's that for an ending? We'll leave everybody laughing. Thank you again, Susan.